Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on good question, on February 22nd, 2022, at approximately 8:42 a.m. PST. Well, needless to say, these need replacing, but in 2 days I've got an appointment to get them dealt with. Things are changing in this world, and quite frankly, that is thanks to you. The trick is to make sure that we get things to turn in the right direction. Right direction meaning in the way of peace and cooperation. Now, I came back to this world for one primary reason. Okay, to pass on one very simple message. Working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Okay, but that changing takes place with you first. Look right in your heart. Now, I'm in the same boat you are, and so is everybody else. Whether you're living on the street or in an incredible palace, doesn't matter. If you're running an incredible temple or a church, doesn't matter. You're all exactly the same. You're right here, right now. Nobody is more valuable than the next person. Which is why I've got this wood sign up here above us that says, I am worth it. I strongly recommend you take those four words, the four most powerful words in combination, for helping with improving your self-esteem, your self-worth, your motivation, and your gear towards transforming your life from what it is into what you desire it to be. Of course, I've got things on my desk again. That's what I get for working too much. So, like I said, from your standpoint, it really does boil down to a simple thing. Decide what you desire in your life and start making it happen. Even if you've taken a goal, even if you've taken a project that you started when you were younger, and because there were too many obstacles, not the least of which was other people stepping in and saying, oh, you're not good enough to do that. Okay, I will tell you this. Practice does not make perfect, but practice does improve. I'm quite happy. I've been using my left arm a lot lately. And because of that, it's responding faster and faster. I have no doubt that I will get the use of my hand back. Okay. But when you take a look at your life, you start here and ask yourself, are you content with the way your life is going, with the projects you're working on? And the biggest trick in the book where it comes to the projects that I found that works really well for me, that's this sheet. And that was sheet. It wasn't anything else. Okay, that's got to go with me today. One of the biggest tricks that I found was a list to make sure that you stay on track. Now, of course, I discovered this morning. I was going to talk about a topic and forgot what it was. It's listed on yesterday's video, and I didn't have time to look at it this morning. Well, more to the point, I used my time ineffectively, but I did manage to relax a little. And for those of you that have wondered, which I don't know if there's any of you, the only two video games I've ever been able to play functionally, okay, where everybody else plays these incredible games and they're really good at them, the only two I've been able to play have been Skyrim and Horizon. And fortunately, my left hand is now working enough I can actually play Horizon again. Okay, I couldn't get my hand to work properly to do so. That's a side note for you. Pick a project, doesn't matter. Take a look at where your life is, and literally, right where you're sitting right now, pick 3 things that you are not content with. Okay, those 3 things. Those are the first ones you start working on, but keep them to 15-minute to half-hour jobs. That way you can check them off and feel like you're getting something done today. Okay, I do this on a regular basis, although I usually start off with a dozen. I am trying to bring it back to 3, but that usually gets wiped out in a matter of minutes, so doesn't work well for me. But then I am what is called a true multitasker. Okay, as in, I can be writing my books, talking on the phone, you know, and doing like a lot of the time when I'm talking on the phone to people that I know, I'll be working on my finances to make sure they stay on track at the same time without losing track of either one. Now, with that in mind, it really is, people, you've been doing a wonderful job at shifting gears. And, when we take a look at this whole convoy thing, we got to realize that is a group of people from every walk of life. Okay, that is now pitching in, and it's even grown to the point now, from what I gather, and I haven't been following it a lot, but from what I gather from the bits and pieces I've been picking up, it's not just the truckers that are involved. Now we seem to be getting extra people involved. This is the start of unity. This is the start of working together. Okay, and that's the whole message here. Working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. And that's what I was going to deal with. Somebody asked me whether or not I had ever seen, with this kind of a task, had I ever seen it actually accomplished before? And the answer to that question is yes. Okay, but we have to realize it wasn't in recent times. In recent times, you get people pitching together. And invariably, thus far, people have been pitching together when there's been a common threat or a major natural disaster that has affected a great number of people. Okay, you'll notice when a flood hits, people don't ask, who did you vote for? I'm here to rescue people, but I'm only going to rescue the ones that voted for this person. Okay, or sorry, I know you're all in trouble, but I'm only taking the people that are this color. 50,000 years ago, I guess, mankind was at odds with each other on a global base. Okay, they did work it back to where they ended up evolving to total, to total global unity. How did they do it was what I was asked. Well, how they did it was simple. Communication. Straightforward, honest, truthful communication. Okay. By following the three karmic laws. Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Energy out, energy in. Okay. By following those three, and if you look at the guidelines you work with personally, I do believe you'll find every one of them fit into those three. But 50,000 years ago, mankind had evolved, and of course the question there is, why, if there were that many people, are there no records? Well, rest assured, if we end up with an EMP pulse here, there's going to be no written records. Okay, because most of the information today, from this last 50 years, is stored on disk. It's stored electronically. Well, back then when they did it, because people essentially think the same way, regardless of the language, they think the same way. As communication evolved, they developed absolute full telepathy. Okay, they had 100% clear-cut communication. And they did find, what we found was, by being honest, there was no deception, therefore, trust was not a problem. Okay, trust comes because of intended deception. Trust has been further compromised by trying to be politically correct, trying to worry about this is what I've got to say, but I've got to say it in a way that's not going to make somebody upset. Well, you're going to make people upset. I was told years ago I had to learn tact, and I looked at the person a little confused, and I went, tact? They went, yeah, the ability to tell a man to go and, to go where, and to go, well, politely, but, well, this is not polite. The ability to tell a man to go to hell and make him happy and look forward to the trip. And I asked the person, I said, that's a cute thought. There's one flaw with it that I really can't wrap my brain around. I said, if I'm mad enough to tell somebody to go to hell, why do I care what they feel, whether they look forward to the trip? net result, I did not learn a lot of tact. Okay. Now, I look at it, I find it intriguing. My understanding is there are two places that are actually referred to as hell, aside from the biblical term. Okay. I believe it's in Alberta, but I believe in Alberta, up here in Canada, there's a city called Hell. And I never did understand why people tell people, go to that little town. I'm not sure what's so special about it, but unless that's just where you want to put where you think all the bad people go. The other one is, if memory serves, during the Civil War, when somebody died, they would bury them in a 2-foot hole, not a 6-foot one. They bury them in a 2-foot hole, and that was called hell. Don't know why it came up with that term, but I don't study linguistics that much. But what they did was they found out that because people think essentially the same way, virtually everybody desires to have their own opinion heard. They desire to be respected for their choices, given that the choices are not hurting other people. Okay, if they're hungry, they desire to eat. If you're thirsty, you desire a drink. If you're happy, you end up laughing. And everybody likes to laugh. Even the ones that claim they don't, quite frankly, what I found is hidden deep in here, they actually enjoy it. And I've talked to people like that. They absolutely refuse to laugh. Right. But that's usually because they were taught that laughing was a sign of weakness. I will tell you this, laughter is one of the best healing tools you can get. Not only for your mood, but your health as well. Now there are scientists that'll tell you what chemicals are released. Okay, when you laugh, your body does go through metabolic changes. Same as it goes through metabolic changes when your mood shifts. But what these people did, what the Lemurians figured out, their empire, was by communicating properly, they developed full two-way communication via telepathy. Which meant if I wanted to talk to somebody that was in what it would now be called Australia, I'd think about it and tap in and we'd talk. We didn't have all this technology. We didn't have all the stuff. But the long and the short of it was we eliminated war, we eliminated jealousy, we eliminated famine. All of it because we had developed beyond telepathy. We managed to build the concept of physical manifestation. As in, think about it, and it would appear. Which was great where it came to all the odds and ends. Where it came to all the odds and ends in life. But we managed to get to that point. Now, somewhere along the line, we got a little bored. Because it was so easy to go, oh, I'm hungry. I'd like a steak, medium well. You think about it, and there it is in a plate in the palm of your hand, ready to go. Or you're walking through the village, or through the countryside, going, gee, I'm a little peckish. I think I'd like an apple. Put your hand out, think about the apple. There's a physical apple. You can eat it. You can carry on. Now, this sounds far-fetched. But in all fairness, cell phones sounded far-fetched way back in the 60s. Today, they're commonplace. But we found, by working together, we created everything via mental cognition. We thought about it, physical manifestation, we had down to a fine art. But in time, we got bored with it. Because things became too easy, it was too little of a challenge. And the human race, and for that matter, corporeals, require some sort of effort. They absolutely require some sort of challenge. So what we ended up doing was we turned back to art. To physical art. Now, it started off as just simple little things like taking wood, chipping away bits and pieces of it and carving in it. Then it moved on to stonework, etc. Well, eventually we got into sculpting and what have you. Now, envy did exist, but envy boiled down to, gee, I wish I could create something like that. And the person that had already done it would go, I'll show you how. There was no, people did not fight, did not challenge each other. They fought to improve themselves, or they worked to improve themselves, is a better way of putting it, or to improve their own abilities. Once they got that down to a fine art, pardon the pun, and the artwork, it was done in simple terms. Okay, the perishable stuff faded away for obvious reasons. Okay, if you're making something on paper, you're pretty much hooped. It's going to wear out in a few years, usually. Now, in all fairness, sometimes it doesn't. I've got a book myself that was written, that was copyrighted in 1850. Okay, I do like some of the old texts and what have you, but we got to the point where we could, we had literally 10 billion people. Okay, now we did not run out of land. We did not run out of that side of it at all. But what happened was somebody would go, I require a place to dwell. Okay, and in all fairness, you can use, what is it now? No, I'm not going to bother with that. Tiny homes, the tiny houses that you can buy nowadays, it shows beyond a shadow of a doubt that you can live in smaller quarters. So people took a small area and went, this is where I'm living. We weren't interested in the material world to speak of. But on the other hand, we didn't feel like freezing to death or being soaked in the rain all day. So we'd pick a spot and we go, I'm building a house here. And then if somebody else wanted one there, well, they'd build one on top. It wouldn't be, you've got to move. We just build. We ended up with like 200-story skyscrapers. But they were made out of, they were literally made out of energy and held together by mental cohesion. In other words, everybody looking at it going, I like the way that looks, so that when the people that created it in the first place fell asleep, these constructs would still be there. Well, that went great, and like I said, we had no war. We had full communication. Borders didn't even exist. Okay. Now, in today's world, now don't forget, before they got to that, they had to build a political system, they had to build a legal system, they had to build an educational system. We have all of those. They even had a religious system. Okay, a spiritual guideline system. We had all those. We went through the same trials and tribulations that you're going through now. But because we got the communication up and running properly, and we quit propagating the idea of you have to fear your neighbor, don't tell the person your name because they can use it against you. We got way past that. By doing that, we managed to evolve things to the point where when we desired to get something accomplished, we did. There wasn't a whole lot of struggle around it. But we had to deal with it one step at a time. Right now, you're going through growing pains. And if you happen to be in a position of guiding people, stay away from enforcing or emphasizing the fear side of it. Okay, really start looking at emphasizing the positive side. The fact is, if you see somebody in tears, if you walk around, you're always grumpy, people aren't going to desire to be around you. They're not going to desire to talk to you. If you've got a smile on your face, more often than not, and just for those of you, because we're still dealing with the mask factor and the mask situation, your eyes still tell if you're smiling. If you're smiling and talking pleasantly to people, you will find that people do turn around and they're more congenial. This, in turn, makes the world a lot lighter place, a lot more enjoyable. Okay. And what we did was we built it to a point where this was just commonplace. Now, we had the physical manifestation. Some of us had developed the capacity to teleport, to literally disappear from this location and show up over here. Others develop the ability to fly. Now, there are a lot of things, and I don't mean with wings. I mean simply physically willing your body to defy gravity. These sound like science fiction, and this is why I say it can be done. They went from a volatile race to a unified form. And when they went to that unified form, technology climbed to a staggering level. Now, at some point, a group of these people, roughly speaking, yeah, and it wasn't even split, but there was one group of people that built starships and ended up leaving Earth. They ended up colonizing a planet on the other side of the sun in the same orbital position as Earth. Okay, but set at a direct opposite. There's a planet over there called Mobius. Now, don't take my word for it. Okay, I stumbled across it myself I stumbled across it before that, but I accidentally found it on the general website of NASA just by poking around on links. Okay, I don't know if you'll find it. I don't even know if it's still listed there. I do know the planet's still there. But these people colonized another planet 50,000 years ago. Okay, this is not the first time that mankind has gotten into orbit. Okay, or for that matter, left the planet. So, did we have peace? Yes. Can we do it again? The answer is also yes. Now, I mentioned when I get in 2 days, I'm getting these replaced. Okay, and when I do that, these glasses will go somewhere else. Instead of throwing them in the garbage, the company that deals with my eyes will take these glasses and send them to another place where they can at least help somebody a little. But I will tell you that done right, whatever you're working on, and this is why I say it's absolutely imperative we work with each other in order to help people get to that point, where the people that have the wherewithal to help reach out and help the people that are behind schedule, that haven't got the capacity for whatever reason. By doing this, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. And I am absolutely calling on the people that have more than the others. Okay. The people that are very materially speaking, very undercovered, if you will. Okay, they're lacking. The thing you can do, even though you don't have a lot of material, a simple smile, a simple hello, can do wonders for people's emotional well-being. You can absolutely help people with this, even if you don't have a lot to give. The people that have the material stuff, because I understand society has evolved where stuff is really important. And in case you hadn't noticed, I got a fair amount of stuff that I've got that, frankly, I don't really require. Okay, but I am absolutely asking you to join me on this journey to start dealing with the people that are less fortunate. Treat them as you desire to be treated. Okay, I see way too many people that are dressed in really expensive suits, and they look down on people that are still dressed in holy jeans and what have you. Okay, but it's time that we put this fear behind us. It's time we start cooperating. Is this a long haul job? You bet, but it has been done before. Okay, there will almost it's almost in that we'll try and go through that. By the way, this is a live recording. So I'm not going back to correct any of these stumbles. All I do is double check the date that I posted this, that I recorded this, and then post it as is. That said, if you like the video, give us a thumbs up, do subscribe to the channel, and share the daylights out of it with every entity you come across, no matter what species, no matter what configuration. Okay, because this is a task that is necessary for all entities in order to change the path that reality is going on, especially on this planet. This is the one we'll worry about for the moment. Okay, but people are looking to get off this planet. Mankind's already done it. It's time to take care of the one you're on. Way overdue time, in all fairness. But what I am finding is people are finally starting to do this. You're reaching out, you're helping each other. I'm seeing more people communicate more openly about the positive things that are taking place, which is extremely necessary. Okay, is this going to be a long haul? Yes. We are not the first society that has gone through growth spurts. The Draconian society evolved too fast and they had to shear theirs off, which ended up producing essentially three other races because they cut them all off. I originally thought it would that the Draconians, that the Drakes only created were related to the Srazazian and the Kamalians. But I got looking into it, and the Tormenon were another casualty of that hyperextension. You may find the same thing with your business. And understand, household, business, empire, country, doesn't matter. Okay, they all operate under the same principle. And if you've expanded too fast, you may run into a very serious problem. You may have to cut back. That doesn't mean you failed. Okay, that means you expanded too fast. Okay, so really, and I'll talk about that another day, about this issue of how to gauge if you're expanding too fast. I think I've done it before, but it certainly won't hurt. As a matter of fact, I think what I'll do here is I'm just going to make a note for myself, which is what I should have done yesterday. I'm just making a note for myself so that tomorrow I will discuss this concept of optimal expansion. When is the best time to expand what you're working with? But remember, the three karmic laws are critical. Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Energy out, energy in. Now, we're reaching the half-hour mark here, which is where I cut these off. I will be back again tomorrow. But until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.